Lisa Cook's fight to the death with Donald Trump over her seat on the Federal Reserve will enter a new phase later this morning when Judge Cobb, a Biden appointee, has her first hearing on a motion for temporary restraining order that's been filed on an emergency basis by Lisa Cook's lawyers, Abbe Lowell. It matters to our economy. It matters ultimately to your pocketbook what happens to Lisa Cook. And I want to give you the update here on Legal AF Friday morning. As we head into the weekend, no rest for the weary, and justice does not stop. We're going to have hearings probably over the weekend as well, maybe even on Monday, concerning some of Donald Trump's depraved conduct. This one, he thinks he's got a weak link on the Federal Reserve, and he's using Bill Pulte, who's a Nepo baby philanthropist, donated a lot of money to the Trump administration to get his job on running Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are the mortgage liquidity, mortgage funding entities, not regulators in the traditional sense, and certainly aren't responsible for investigating mortgage fraud, hasn't stopped Bill Pulte from posting on social media pieces of evidence against Lisa Cook like he's some sort of prosecutor. He should get used to that, because I think once this administration is over, people like Bill Pulte are going to be investigated and federally probed themselves. But until we reach that point, we need to get to the facts about Lisa Cook. Now, from what I can see from reading her filings, and you're here on Legal AF where we do exactly that on Michael Popok, of course, she filed on Thursday was for a complaint for declaratory judgment and a complaint for injunctive relief. Accompanying that is a motion for temporary restraining order, which is a type of injunctive relief. Now, I thought, because I did a Legal AF Substack live, I thought it was interesting that nowhere in the complaint that Lisa Cook filed did she say that she point blank did not commit mortgage fraud per se. The argument is she had two pieces of property, one in Michigan and one in Atlanta, that she checked the box on both forms. You know, I don't know, people, if you've ever taken out a mortgage, I mean, it's the electronic version of a stack of papers up to your ceiling. And somewhere along the way, and she's not a lawyer, she's an economist, somewhere along the way, it looks like she may have checked the box for primary residence for both homes. You're not supposed to have two primary residences, you're supposed to have one. That's what the tax man says as well. And banks generally give you a lower interest rate for primary residence than for an investment piece of property. The theory being you're less inclined to default on your primary residence. You might be more inclined to default on your vacation home. And so they give you a little bit of a break on the interest rate. I don't know. I don't know exactly what she did. Bill Pulte's claiming she's checked the boxes. But in order to show misconduct, malfeasance, some sort of dereliction of duty while in office to take her out of her Federal Reserve governor role, you need more than that. You need to have a for-cause reason. And my argument is it has to be proven in a court of law, and that it's enough under the way for cause has been interpreted, which is not a defined term, but it comes out of the case law. I did think it was interesting in her complaint, to be fair, that she didn't say that she didn't check the wrong boxes. She didn't say, no, you got it wrong. I'm not that Lisa Cook, or no, Atlanta is my primary and Michigan's not. And if the paperwork says something differently, that was a mistake or an error. She is saying that at best it was a clerical error, and there is no materiality, which is a standard under the law, no intentionality, which is a standard in criminal law as well. In other words, she didn't have a criminal mind when she did this. At worst, she made an administrative or clerical error that doesn't rise the level of malfeasance or wrongdoing or neglect of her job, inefficiency, they sometimes call it, or theft of honest service, where she's getting paid to do a job that she doesn't do. That stands in sharp contrast, by the way. Just give you an example of what theft of honest service looks like. See Donald Trump. I mean, people that follow me for the last 5 years know that I'm not into whataboutism as a defense. Like, well, I did something bad, but what about that guy? But let's look at Donald Trump for a minute. And the fact that he has earned, and he's declared it, I think it's higher than that, but he said he's earned $1.5 billion since he took office, and bragging about it. Make America great again. Make America great again for who? Theft of honest services. You're not doing the job for which you were elected. You're not doing full-time work. You're doing part-time work, and you've turned the Oval Office into a personal printing press for you and your family. I think the number, when you add in the cryptocurrency amount that he's made running all of these different businesses on the side and all the things he's done on the side and the real estate deals his family is making, I think it's closer to $3 to $5 billion already, which is right where I thought it would be. I just thought that would happen at the end of his administration. So for him to attack somebody else for what? That she checked the wrong box between two pieces of property? This is the same Bill Pulte that Donald Trump's using. He's like a meat puppet. He's using him to go after all the Democrats and their mortgages, apparently. Adam Schiff, he owns 2 homes. And Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, she owns multiple property. Did they check the right boxes? Did they take out loans properly? I'm like, okay, Bill Pulte, he of the tie longer than even Donald Trump. I assume you're going to be doing it to be fair, so it's not selective prosecution. I assume you're also targeting some Republicans that have cheated on their mortgage or checked the wrong boxes. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not doing that? It's only these 4. It's only because Donald Trump wants to get control of the Federal Reserve and thinks if he lops off and decapitates Lisa Cook, that he'll be able to get control of the 7-member board and change the interest rates to his favor, leading to hyperinflation. Yay! Standing in his way is a federal judge, Judge Cobb. So this hearing later today, which I'm going to cover, I'm actually going to try to get into the hearing and cover it, is going to be whether she's going to grant a temporary restraining order to declare that as of right now, peeking under the hood of the case, that Donald Trump has a loser of a case to try to prove causation or that he has cause to fire Lisa Cook. And the United States Supreme Court, as recently as May, in a case we call Wilcox, said point blank, you cannot fire the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, or in this case, it was the chair that they were talking about, without for cause, which is something that you need to establish in order to take somebody out. And it's not going to be enough, based on my reading of that Wilcox case or the predecessor cases like Humphrey's Executor, a case from 1935. It's not going to be enough just to go, just to point at somebody and go, j'accuse, I accuse you. That's not going to be enough. Or Donald Trump's is a common position, which is, I declared that she has done something wrong and therefore I get to fire her. That's not how the for cause barrier works. Otherwise, what would be the purpose of having it? Donald Trump tried to argue he could fire anybody in any agency or department without, even if Congress established it and set up a rule that the president couldn't fire them. That was an encroachment on presidential authority under Article 2. And therefore, he would be able to fire at will. And the Supreme Court said, yes, you can fire almost anybody, but you can't fire people like, and then they cited it, people like the head of the Federal Trade Commission, I would assume the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the head of the Federal Reserve. For that, you need to have a for cause reason. And the case law has been established that says for cause means malfeasance, what they call inefficiency or theft of honest service, misconduct in the job, and checking the wrong box on your mortgage doesn't fall into that category, no matter how many mean tweets Bill Pulte puts up, as if he's some sort of prosecutor in a court of law. The guy at best was the son of home builders in Southeast America, Pulte Homes. That's his claim to fame. And he donated a lot of money to Donald Trump to get his current job. He bought his current job. That doesn't give you the right to declare that Lisa Cook is a crook. I'm sure that's coming. I'm sure Lisa Crook is coming any day now. But that's not how our criminal justice system works. That's not how our civil justice system works. And even the Supreme Court would have to say, no, it's not that you just get to declare that this thing is for cause. You have to have findings. And findings usually mean a court. Findings aren't Bill Pulte decided to type up something that's mean. That's not findings in my neck of the woods, in my world. Findings are usually translated into a court of law has found, a jury has found. We saw a version of this, for instance, that went in Donald Trump's favor when he was accused of being an insurrectionist, rightly so, and Colorado tried to take him off the ballot. And originally it was, is it enough that the supervisor of elections or the Secretary of State of Colorado declared that he was an insurrectionist based on what happened on Jan 6th to remove him from the ballot? And every judge that looked at the issue said no. Even though it doesn't say so, a judge has to make that determination, has to make that declaration, has to make that finding. And therefore, there was a trial. And the Colorado trial judge found that Donald Trump was an insurrectionist and then agreed to bar him from the ballot. But it went up to the United States Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court effectively said, no, states can take insurrectionists off state when they're running for state positions off the ballot, but not federal positions and not the president. That was their ruling then. That was the first of many rulings in favor of Donald Trump, including the immunity decision, which gave him the right effectively to commit crimes of a certain nature while he's president. So, but that was a case, and I think the Supreme Court would agree with it, that you have to have a court make interpretations about the term for cause. So Judge Cobb, who is the judge who's going to be hearing this today, is going to have to look at decide whether the 4 factors for temporary restraining order are present. 1, whether it's likely that Lisa Cook is going to prevail. You kind of take a peek at the evidence and the arguments, all the clips of Donald Trump bashing her, all the clips of Donald Trump saying what he really wants to accomplish is to resolve a policy difference. He wants rates lowered. He doesn't care about, he's not firing Lisa Cook for cause because he cares about her, anything else about the Board of Governors. It's just that he smells blood and he wants to take control of the Federal Reserve. That's different than she's a pawn. So that's the arguments that are going to be made and evidence that's going to be presented with all the statements made by Donald Trump against Jay Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, against Lisa Cook, all his attempts to try to destroy the independence of the Federal Reserve. So that's the first thing. Is it likely that Cook will prevail at the end of a trial? Yes or no? If it's yes, then we keep going. The other factors. Is she have an irreparable harm that can't be compensated with money damage? Yeah, she has her seat until 2038. That's irreparable harm if she's removed. So I think that goes in her favor. And that's usually merged with inadequate remedy at law. I think that's going to be in her favor, those 2 elements. Then it's going to be, does the balance of equities tip in her favor and the public interest tip in her favor? And I think, yes, the independence of the Federal Reserve tips in her favor. So if we get over those 4 elements, then the judge can say, I'm going to enter a temporary restraining order as of right now to declare that she stays in her chair. She participates in all her meetings. She is not removed. She is not fired. The firing is undone. That's what's up for grabs in a couple hours here in front of Judge Cobb. And I'll report on it back on Legal AF YouTube, but also on Legal AF Substack. Take a minute. I'm posting all the documents related to this case on Legal AF Substack. Take a look at it. But at bottom, it's so important to our economy that she win this. Because if Donald Trump gets the 4-3 advantage, which he's trying for at the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, he'll then gain control of the Open Markets Committee, which sets the rate of interest rates and therefore affects jobs and inflation. And that's why we never let a president get control of the central bank. But ultimately, it's going to go from Judge Cobb on a fast track up to the federal courts, appellate courts of DC, and then on a fast track to the United States Supreme Court. And then we're up and running in September or October in front of the United States Supreme Court on this so important issue as Lisa Cook continues her day job as a governor unless and until a higher authority says that she can be removed for cause and cause has been established. I'm glad you're here. Help us on Legal AF Substack. We're the number 6 in rising in U.S. politics of all Substack platforms. amazing live material. I jump on live twice a day, pull 3,000 people together, and we talk through these things. So I'm so glad you're here. Take a moment, hit the subscribe button here as well. Till my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.